back, everyone, to another episode of the Holistic Cannabis Show, where I am always your hostess, Dr. Yolanda Henderson, and welcome back,
Ian Henderson.
There you go, Ian Henderson. You don't have an alter ego today.
I don't have an alter ego today, man. I don't have an alter ego personality. Not today. Not today. We're kind of serious today.
We're serious.
We're kind of serious today.
All right. Well, all right. So, Ian Henderson, can you tell everyone how they can watch and share the show?
You can watch the show on Facebook, Instagram, Manifest TV, Status Network. Look for the Holistic Cannabis Show. If you're on Periscope, and Twitter is status_network_Manifest TV. Look for the Holistic Cannabis Show. You can catch the replays on YouTube. You want to search for Status Network or Manifest TV. Look for Status Network and then search for the Holistic Cannabis Show.
All right.
You'll see us there.
That's right. So thank you for that. We have a wonderful show today. We have some exciting guests, and we're going to be educating you on the pharmacies that are opening up here in Georgia that allows cannabis for sale, okay? And we have a special guest from Botanical Science, Mr. Gary Long, CEO of Botanical Science, and we have April Hang from the Peachtree Pharmacies, and she will be talking about what's in the pharmacies and how we can utilize medical cannabis in the industry and everywhere in Georgia. All right, so welcome to the show, Mr. Gary Long. We're going to talk to you first. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us today. All right,
Sure.
So tell us how everything is going with Botanical Sciences, because we know that you were the higher score of the medical cannabis license. So congratulations. That is amazing.
Hit that.
Pretty incredible. Our company was selected back in 2021 as the highest ranking company among the 70 who actually applied for the licenses in Georgia. So we're super proud of that. Our company is founded by a physician. So as it relates to the Georgia market, our market is medicinal, and a physician actually has to make a recommendation to a patient in order to receive cannabis. And so we think we're very well positioned as a company to be able to help, and we understand how all this process works. And as you mentioned, what's really unique about Georgia is the ability that Georgia has enabled independent pharmacies to actually dispense medicinal cannabis. That's in addition to our own dispensaries that we get from Georgia. So it's hopefully we can spend some time talking about that with you all.
We will.
Awesome.
Let's go.
Right.
Let's
Want to
go.
talk about it right now?
Let's
Want to talk about it right
let's
now?
do
Let's talk about it right now, Gary. Let's talk about it right now. I see in the corner of the screen where it says physician-owned, patient-centered.
Yes, sir.
I just found out that I got this health issue going on. All right, I am on one of the qualifying conditions for the state of Georgia, but that's all that I know. What's my next step, Gary, as a patient?
Yep. Great question. Either you go to your own physician, if you have a physician, family practitioner, or an internist, or even you can use telemedicine doctors now will provide you with a card. You need your cannabis card in Georgia that's issued by the Department of Health. So the way that the process works is if you have one of these qualifying conditions or symptoms that are on the list, then you'll actually have that conversation with your physician. They then will essentially put you into the Department of Health portal. And once that happens, you then get your card sent to you'll actually have to go pick up your card at a Department of Public Health website. Physical site. So there's like 16 around the state where you have to go physically pick up your card. Unfortunately, it's not like a driver's license where they'll mail it to you. We're hoping to make that change going into the new year. It's kind of crazy. I know. I see you guys shaking your heads. We say the same thing. We're like, you send us our driver's license. Why can't you send us our cannabis card? But it's a pretty simple process once the physician makes the recommendation and it gets put into that Department of Health portal, and then you actually go get it. It takes about 10 to 14 days once that process starts. And then once you have
Gary,
that card, go
I
ahead.
don't know if you know, I was just going to interject that you said there's 16 sites where you can go pick up cards now. It used to
Yeah.
only be 1 or 2 sites. When
Yeah.
I had to get my card, I had to go to Decatur. I didn't have the choice of, you know, any other places. It was just
Right.
Yeah.
Decatur
Yeah.
or Valdosta. Those were my 2
They
spots.
have they've definitely expanded the number of sites, so that is
Right.
good. But ultimately, we want them to be able to send those cards via mail. There's no reason why
Right.
they shouldn't. I mean, your voter registration card gets
Comes in the
sent to
mail.
you, and your driver's
Agreed.
license gets sent to you. So
Sent to you in the mail.
we're going to be advocating for that in the next legislative session.
Yes.
Wow. Oh,
And
that's awesome.
and what I don't like, and I'm going to interject as well, is that I needed to have mine renewed, and I had to get another appointment and go through almost the same situation as if I had a first time card, and I didn't like that. If my condition hadn't changed, or the thing was, they had just opened. Botanical Science hadn't even opened before my card expired. So I had it for 2 years and couldn't do nothing with it. So that was another one that we need to talk
you
about.
guys caught the news not so long ago, but there was a bit of a newsworthy. It actually went to the Atlanta Journal, where the Department of Health was reporting 30,000 plus patients being on the registry, but that ended up being a cumulative total of all of the patients who have ever registered, including people that have passed away.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, so they've had to now go back and audit that entire list. There's actually only about 13,500 patients on the registry today, which is shocking considering we have 11 million people in our state.
Dr.
So,
I don't think that's true. Yeah, I think it's false, but
What do you think, Dr. April?
I mean, I think that it may be true. There's a possibility that it's true because, like you said, you got your card when you heard it was approved, but then, you know, 2 years later, you still can't purchase anywhere and it expired.
Yeah.
I know,
That's true.
you know, I know when it was first approved in 2019, there was a lot of people that went to register thinking it would have been rolled out a lot faster than it has been, unfortunately. But once they see the registry change, I think the things that will increase, I mean, I already have like 6 people I'm about to refer to a physician, or another physician teledoc health company, just waiting to complete that contract with them. And then, you know, I can get my stuff in from Botanical Sciences hopefully soon. And then, you know, just start helping as many people as we can.
All right. So I need to ask you, you're going to be actually having product from Botanical Science in your pharmacy.
Right.
And
Okay.
That's awesome.
Okay, so and either one of y'all can answer this question. It don't matter to me. So in a daily conversation, you know, one of the things that we were talking about before the show started was patients who feel like that they need this cannabis or they get hurt on the job or whatever, and their barrier in conversation is that, oh man, if my employer finds out that I'm on cannabis, I could lose my job. How do you have that conversation to let a potential patient know, hey man, it's okay. You know, you can still take care of yourself, you know, and not have to be concerned about losing a job.
Especially if you have a prescription or a recommendation and they can now get it at a pharmacy.
Yeah, I'll start. You know, obviously every employer is going to be different, right? They're going to think about how they treat their employees differently. But I think the last point you made is probably the right one, which is if you have that card, which is, you know, a legal card from the state of Georgia, which means that you've gone to a physician and gotten approved to receive this medicine, then you should be in good standing, I would imagine, with your employer, especially if you can prove that, hey, I have a medical condition, I've got my legal medicinal cannabis card. And I think that's the way it has kind of worked in other states too. Now, we all know at the federal level, this is still a
Right.
Schedule One drug. So I can't speak for what might happen if you work for the government.
Right.
But for a private company employer or public company employer, I would imagine that they're not going to necessarily look down on it if you have your card.
All right. All
Yeah,
right.
it's a
Dr. April?
personal.
So I work for so hypothetically I work for MARTA, right? And I get into a crash on my bus, right?
Yep.
And so I have a card. I just never told MARTA that I have this card. And so now, of course, whenever you're in the public transportation sector, when you have an accident, they're sending you to have your blood tested. They're going to send for two things, a urine specimen and a blood specimen. All right. Should I be concerned as an employee of those entities specifically?
Yeah, maybe April, you want to speak to that?
Okay, so I'm not a lawyer by trade. Just making a disclaimer right away. Jerry is not either. So our
Right.
opinions are opinions. They're not facts. Do your own due diligence and follow up with your own attorney. I mean, private corporations, I mean, they're going to have their choice. I mean, New York police officers are allowed to smoke marijuana on the job.
There you go.
So
Yep.
it depends on the job, like what, how much it helps the patient. For me in the pharmacy, like I'm not anti-cannabis. Everybody knows that. But I don't want any of my employees to be at work, high. If they're at work and they took a couple of drops, just so that they can move their knees or whatever, fine. But if they're taking like, a whole 20 fluid ounces and they're just going to be off their mind, I'm going to send them home. I'm not going to fire them, but I'm like, you're not going
Can't
to,
perform your job. Right.
you're going to make up a mess of some kind that's going to hurt somebody. So you got to go for the day.
Right.
All right. So tell us about you, Miss Dr. April. Tell us about what you do. I have some information on you and how the pharmacies are opening in your area. So can you tell me about your personal experience in your pharmacy that you have medical cannabis coming to?
Okay, so I have two pharmacies. One is in Peachtree Corners, Georgia, 5270 Peachtree Parkway. And that's peachtreepharmacy.rx.com. And then I have Total Food and Pharmacy in the West End of Atlanta, which is a regular convenience store, walk-in pharmacy, and that is totalpharmacyplus.com.
Awesome.
So when I was in the store, a patient came in with a prescription from California, and she's probably like 85 years old. That your mom or my aunt or your grandmother, my cousin's mom, or somebody, family member. And I couldn't help her. And then, I talked to her son. Her son was like, well, what is she going to do? I was like, well, it's illegal for me to kind of tell you to mail it to her. So, I'm not really sure what happened with the patient. And it was, I took the oath to help people. And it's always been my kind of type of personalities to help as much as I can. And so I just started researching about cannabis in the capital, and then I just started showing up and kind of learning how to maneuver through the capital because I had no idea. I looked like a lost puppy inside, but people were like, "Did you need help or something?" So somebody's there to help you. You'll figure it out. So.
Yeah, that's where we met, I believe. I think we met once or twice at the Capitol, and
Probably, that's where I met most of everyone I know.
in the cannabis, in the cannabis space here in Georgia. So shouts out to everyone in the cannabis space in Georgia who've shown up and who's, actually trying to see this all the way through to the end. So we know that we're not at the end. We're just beginning. To me, 2019, we've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. And especially with the two of you, we're just thankful that there was what was expected, a Georgia-based cannabis company that was from Georgia. Right. And so we're just proud and thankful that they, everyone who advocated got that, especially, and just to have another avenue with the pharmacies is another praise for cannabis, and just getting people knowledgeable on how to get the card. So thank you again for that. Did you have anything else to add on how to get a medical card?
I know Botanical Sciences has a QR code for a teledoc. Okay. And then I'm going to post another teledoc later on today, maybe.
All right. So. Do you have that, Mr.
Shoot that
Long?
information, Gary. Shoot that information where we can go and get a card if we need a card.
You got it. You got it. There's several companies that do it that have operated in other states for years. There's Doc MJ, VeraHeal. There's quite a few other companies, even local ones, that have popped up that will help people get their cards. Now, again, you've got to present with, your symptoms that would be on the qualifying conditions list, but it's pretty simple going through that process. To be honest with you, very convenient, just like it was during COVID when you couldn't go in to see a doctor. Same thing.
Telehealth.
Okay. And we have some photos of everybody. So I have just, who won, how the process went with the winners. And so we're going to show those and just be diligent and know who and what. Oh, those were this weekend. Not wrong ones.
Yeah.
That was me. That was me again. And that was me and Miss America Select, Veteran Select Miss America. And I won an award. Yay.
Very good.
It was the Heroic Salute by She. So that's a certificate of honor for women veterans. I made history in 2023. So that was also another ordeal. That was us at the Miss Veteran 2023 competition.
Very good, very good. Look at her. She's so shiny.
Those were the kiddos. They had fun. Oh, the water park was amazing.
No, trust me. I'm gonna tie this back into cannabis in just a second. Wonderful thing about those videos is it shows how a quality of life can be restored by using medicinal cannabis.
Yeah.
Right? You got your diagnosis for multiple sclerosis about 10 years ago.
Yep.
And 10 years ago,
I couldn't do any of
she
that.
couldn't do any of that. She couldn't walk. They told her she was going to be in a wheelchair. She was going to always need a walk aid. They told us that we wasn't going to be able to have children. Just a whole plethora of stuff. Now, keep in mind that she is a veteran. So having the quality of life restored back to a person, is a beautiful thing to see. It's a wonderful thing to see how this medicinal cannabis helps. What else can be done to expedite the process? Because now, as y'all may know, we are now inside of 2 proxy wars. And we all know that wars only make people sicker. And when they return from these tours, some of them are going to have PTSD for the first time. Some of them are going to come back with no limbs. Some of them are going to come back, altered in ways that they were not before they were deployed. What else from a medical cannabis standpoint can be done to expedite that, even if you say, okay, we're going to put something together for a select group like our veterans?
Yeah, look, there's a lot I think that we can do as individuals just by influencing our elected officials, right?
Okay.
Georgia got to where it is because of people like April and a lot of other patients that I've met, just like, Dr. Henderson, that have had these horrible diseases, whether they're, MS or you have PTSD or anxiety from other conditions. And it's just a shame that the only options available to a lot of the patients over time have been opioids or, mind-altering types of prescription drugs and those types of things. And so we know that, for thousands of years, cannabis has been used in this way to help people, naturally, and everybody, each one of us has a cannabinoid system in our body, which is like the lock. And cannabis itself and THC compounds are the key that fits that lock. And it provides the relief that people are needing. And that's really what we're all about, is just trying to make sure that we're providing the hope and relief for patients. So to directly answer your question, I would just say get involved in the process, right? Have your elected officials, introduce legislation that tries to open this market up a little bit more and open the number of conditions. Those are the types of things that matter. I think we've seen it across the board in our state. It matters when we speak up.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Just
advocating. Right.
Dr. April?
I don't know if Botanical Sciences or Dr. Fowler is teaming up with any other specialty groups. I know, like sickle cell patients, they're already on the medication list, right, for medical condition list. However, the best way for them is through inhalation, and flower is not on the list. Now, I'm not saying, burn flower, use a vaporizer to cleanse out all of the other byparticles that the patient doesn't need, clearly, and then, inhale it.
Right.
So putting flower on a thing would be a big deal, particularly for sickle cell patients.
Exactly. And our daughter, who was actually on the stage with me, she was born when we got here. Another reason why I got involved in going to the Capitol is because she had epileptic seizures. So she was actually on that stage, y'all. She was dancing right next to me. And all of this is sentimental because being a military veteran from the Army, being a mother of a patient that actually was prescribed and recommended medical cannabis at 6 months because the Keppra and everything else was not working for her, and seeing her dancing and doing those things.
She can dance. She's at the top of her class. Even though she's in kindergarten, her grade scores are such that they're the highest in our in our school district. You know, so a lot of we caught a lot of flack behind making the decision to take the control of my family's health back into our hands, right? There was so much propaganda out there at the time. Oh yeah, cannabis is not good, blah, blah, blah. It's evil, it's of the devil, it's some kind of gateway drug. And then so once we decided to introduce those cannabinoids back to our daughter, then, we saw a reduction in the amount of seizures that she was having. And I was like, hold on, we might be on to something here. But in Texas, because of the for lack of a better word, ignorance of what cannabis really can do. You know, a lot of people still had their eyes closed. A lot of people still watch the negative propaganda, oh man, you're just using this to get high. Right. But I've seen firsthand the achievements and the benefits of this. So of course, I advocate everywhere I go. Get you some weed. Get you some weed. I'm like Snoop Dogg 2.0. Okay, but that's only because I've seen how it does. I've seen it work firsthand. My daughter hasn't had a seizure now in, 3 years?
She's fine.
In 3 years. Yeah. She's been seizure free totally. So for somebody to say, oh man, this medical cannabis thing, man, it's a fluke. It don't work. I almost want to, hey man, let me punch you in the eye. Let me punch you in the eye and then blow some smoke in your eye and then you tell me how that feels. But I can appreciate everything that botanical sciences and companies like yours and you guys being on the front end, taking the brunt of a lot of the doubts, a lot of the criticism, man. I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate y'all for what y'all doing, man. Y'all stay strong, man. I know that pressure thick. I know that pressure is thick.
Dr. April mentioned something at the Morehouse the other day. What was it that you mentioned about opening up and having the cannabis at your locations?
The challenges I was having that you asked me. Okay, so everybody in the state and all the advocates feel like I should have been the first pharmacy to have stuff in the pharmacy, but because of the city and the wording of the Georgia Cannabis Commission and the state not sharing the information to the local different areas, part of the application process, you have to get a zoning letter or certificate showing that you're not in 1,000 feet of boundary line to boundary line of a school, church, or a school, church, or what was the other one?
Daycare.
Yeah.
But they got liquor stores around the corner from the church. They got liquor stores across the street from that's retarded.
Right. So what they would like to see, the city is very supportive. Like Peachtree Corners already said they're going to support me. They just want to make sure that they want to control thing EYA for themselves in a layman's terms.
Yeah. Well, hurry up, Peachtree Corners. Hurry up.
There you go.
Hurry up. We're knocking on the door. We're knocking on your door.
All right.
Well, actually, it's botanicals is with this red tape at this point.
Okay, so everybody
So thanks, Gary.
So everybody who's watching this video, everybody who's watching this show, everybody that's watching the replay, find out who your local politician is for your area.
That's it.
Send him facts after facts after facts after facts. Go down to the Capitol and just make your face known. If you have a positive experience with cannabis, don't be afraid to share it. They have this thing going on with crime. They say, "Oh man, if you see something, say something."
Yeah.
Well, the same thing should apply with cannabis, man. If you have a positive experience, you see something positive about cannabis, say something positive about cannabis.
Right.
Go down there to your politician. Call that some bitch till he get tired of calling. We need this cannabis.
That's
We need
basically
that.
what we have
We
to
need
do. So, Mr. Long, tell us about the grand opening of the new locations that you're having for
Yeah, we just we now have three dispensaries of our own dispensaries open. We have one in Pooler, Georgia, right outside of Savannah,
Okay.
and then we have one in Marietta on Windy Hill Road,
Oh,
and
man.
then we just opened on Rock Quarry Road in Stockbridge this last week on Halloween morning.
Oh,
Okay.
So, yeah, we're in the south side of Atlanta, and then we open in Chamblee on Buford Highway on the 14th, and that particular one is going to be a Veterans Day kind of special. We're having a picnic, so we're really trying to celebrate veterans because, as you said, we see a lot of veterans. We see a lot of folks with PTSD
Yeah.
who've come back from Afghanistan and even Iraq, from years ago that have, it's heartwarming when you hear the stories that come from these folks
Yeah.
about how it actually helps them live as, getting off of these hard prescriptions that have been, horrible on their bodies for a long, long time. So that's kind of what we've got coming up. And then we're going to open our fifth, which is the last one we've been granted by the state in Augusta. And that'll be right on Washington Road. That'll occur in January.
Very good, man. Go get it, Gary. Go get it, man. Go get it, man. Go get it.
yes. And you also mentioned one thing that I like, and I talk about this all the time because, of course, we have the first state-approved medical cannabis school, the Atlanta, Georgia Academy of Cannabis Science, in alliance with the Gift of Life Community Home, which is the nonprofit that oversees the school, and the endocannabinoid system. Knowing that the endocannabinoid system is in every last one of us, and we need to continue to supply those cannabinoids inside of the body. And you talked about that. I love that because they have not quite understood the motive behind the cannabinoid system yet, I don't believe. And so realizing that some of these conditions, like I have MS, my condition will never change, or it may change, but my endocannabinoid system will still remain the same. So doctors who recommend this need to understand that this should be a continuation of care. This should be like a something that you can continue to take if you like for the rest of your life, because you're feeding the endocannabinoid system. Do you agree?
Yeah, I am not a physician, but I have learned an incredible amount in the last several years about this. And quite honestly, no doctors were really trained in medical school about
That's right. That's right.
Which is crazy. And it's the reason why there's all this lack of information and education out there. So what we're trying to do as a company is just be that source of information. I know you guys are doing the same thing.
Yes.
So by disease state, we're trying to aggregate all of these studies that exist out in the world and about how cannabis actually helps, whether it's MS or any other neuromuscular disease, cancer, there's just so many conditions that this can help for. So we agree. And over time, I hope and I pray that the government is going to fund the research that's required to actually give everybody the same awareness and knowledge that they have about taking a prescription medicine should be the same thing for taking cannabis.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Excluding the last one that says death when they go through the list of conditions and side effects.
Oh man, the side effects
and they go by really
medication is
fast.
terrible. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no bleeding, fissures in your nose. Bruh, just let me stay with whatever illness I have if it's going to result in me dying, okay? So that should be an automatic, hey man, go find you a botanical sciences and go in there. Really, me personally, I think that they should take the restrictions off to where you don't even need a card, man. Just go find your dispensary that's in your area and go and take care of yourself, man. Go take care of yourself.
But everybody is
look what Canada is doing.
Yeah. Oh.
Canada is doing it huge.
Okay.
But there's some states have like medical taxes 1%, while their recreational
the taxes, right?
50%.
Right.
Or something.
What?
Right.
50%.
Well, the only way that that's gonna change when we get safe banking. When we get safe banking, that's gonna regulate the taxes.
Right.
That's gonna bring the taxes back in because now you're gonna have more banks involved. So I think that once you remove it from that illegal schedule, that's also gonna have an impact on the tax.
Yes.
For the cannabis too.
So, Dr. Hain, tell me.
Tax it like you would tobacco or alcohol.
Yes. So, Dr. Hain, tell me, what would you like to see? I don't want you to say anything out the chain, but what would you like to see happen in the cannabis space?
For this next legislative session?
Yes.
I mean, there's a couple of different things. Like, I would like to see flour be approved.
Yes.
I would see some kind of GMP testing for the flour required from the wholesalers. I don't know if they're going to do something like Virginia has, like the farmers and the dispensaries, but instead of regulating those two different entities, they created the storehouse or the wholesaler, so they only have to monitor the paperwork there at that one spot.
All right.
So that would be kind of cool if Georgia could do something like that. I wouldn't mind putting my hands in something like that.
Okay.
But I don't, as far as just from the pharmacist's perspective, I feel like we should be able to sign patients up. From the pharmacist's perspective, excluding cannabis, just your flu and strep tests, like you should be able to come into my pharmacy and I can stick a Q-tip in your nose and stick it in the machine, and it's going to tell me you have strep or not. And I should be able to charge you the same thing that the doctor's office charges.
Right.
Able to pay your insurance for something that simple with the collective practice and be able to give you antibiotics. So you don't have to wait, 4 hours at your doctor's office.
Right.
Okay, great.
I want pharmacists to be recognized as providers.
There you go.
That's what all pharmacists want, but every organization has a different agenda. Even the cannabis organizations, I think that's where we're the weakest, is that we all have different agendas. And if we can combine our agendas, and at the end of the day, what do we want? We want the same thing. So why don't we just make that our bottom line, and we all show up together as a team, versus saying, hey, so-and-so said this, and so-and-so said that, versus all of us working together as a team, as one voice.
Yes.
And as constituents, not as lobbyists paid by some random company, MSO, that has a lot of extra money. As constituents, I just feel like it's more powerful and passionate.
Team USA, I say the same thing, man. I say the same thing.
And I was going to add naturopathic doctors. Why can't we recommend medical cannabis? This is herbs. This is, these are things that we should be able to say, okay, your primary care physician told you that you have a qualifying condition, an actual diagnosis. If you come and see me and you want an alternative, why isn't it that I can't, be able to say, hey, this is the strain that you need, like I teach. This is the cannabinoid that's more potent for this ailment, because essentially it strives and goes down deeper into the holistic, the herbal treatments, that we're taught and trained on in school. So that's just one thought. And I understand, MDs have a lot of school and a lot of education on the matter, but they don't have a lot of the medicine experience in the medical cannabis space right now. So that's just my thought. What do you think, Mr. Long? Huh?
Everybody has their own experiences, and education is not always 100% reliable. It's just because, we don't know if it's been sabotaged. You don't know if it's real studies, real white papers, or whatnot.
Yes. Exactly. All right. Well, thank you. We have a clip on the pharmacies that are opening in Georgia. So again, congratulations. Thank you to Mr. Long. We're going to come out on the 14th. So have us a seat ready.
You guys are heroes, man.
Yes.
You guys are heroes.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you getting the word out.
Yes,
Yep,
we
yep.
will. Okay, so we're going to watch this quick clip and we'll be right back.
Developing now in just a matter of weeks, Georgia pharmacies could soon become the first in the nation to fill medical marijuana prescriptions. 11 Alive's Erica Murphy caught up with one local pharmacist to talk about what customers can expect.
And some pharmacies in the area are already in the process of getting approved to distribute medical marijuana. I spoke with the owner of Little 5 Points Pharmacy, who says that approval could just be a few weeks away. Ira Katz has owned and operated Little 5 Points Pharmacy for over 40 years, and he's been working behind the scenes with professional organizations to get medical cannabis inside his store and available to his clients.
Who better than your independent pharmacist who knows your history, knows your medical history, is able to best dispense medical marijuana.
Georgia lawmakers approved distribution of low THC oil under a state law passed back in 2019, but it has taken years to create regulations to actually sell it. Last month, Governor Brian Kemp approved rules passed by the Georgia Board of Pharmacy, clearing the way for pharmacy sales to start. That's according to the AP. Right now, medical marijuana is only available to Georgia patients with approval from a physician to treat severe illnesses like seizures and terminal cancer.
So what we want to do is to be able to, with physicians of course, help to be able maybe to transition some folks off of these heavy-duty opioids, the hydrocodones of the world, the oxycodones of the world, and maybe slowly transition them.
Proponents of the change say it's good because more people will have access to the drugs they need. Already, over 100 independent pharmacies in the state are waiting for the green light to sell medical marijuana products. Reporting from Atlanta, Erica Murphy, 11 Alive News.
Most people have no clue that in 2023, the best way to make money on Amazon is not with physical products.
All right. So you saw here, pharmacies will be dispensing medical cannabis. So go to your local pharmacy, Peachtree Corners, with Dr. April Hang. And what's the other one, Doctor? Oh, we can't hear you.
You muted.
Oh, I was saying it's Peachtree Pharmacy in Peachtree Corners, Georgia, and Total Food Pharmacy in West End, Georgia, right beside the Krispy Kreme.
All right. And now, do you have a strain of the day before we get out of here? What's your favorite strain?
My personal favorite is a medical strain out in Colorado called Lilac Diesel.
Oh, I like this, Doctor.
But it really depends, on what I'm trying to accomplish. If I'm just trying to go to sleep, then I might try something else. But I don't use it a lot, if that makes sense. It's just here and there on weekends or whatever. Because I do have my medical card, and I do need a lot of help sleeping and PTSD.
So you're an indica.
That's my preferred form of medication.
Okay.
My medical, it really depends on what goal I'm trying to, if I feel like I want to be awake and think more or just clean the house, then I'd rather have a sativa.
Oh, okay. Very good. Very good. Awesome. Lilac Diesel.
A Lilac Diesel. All right. So shouts out again to November birthdays and everyone who watched the show today. We hope you all learned a lot on the show. We thank everyone, our special guests, for joining us today. And if you need a medical doctor to help you recommend a certain strain or to get that card, please contact us or one of the guests that were on the show. We want to thank you all again. Our number to be reached if you want to sign up for the classes is 1-888-959-2093. Again, that's 1-888-959-2093. And if you'd like to advertise on our show, please give us a call at that number or 404-631-6360. All right, and until next week, peace.